What is going on? Facebook BJJ report from South Jersey's best in the business, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. South Jersey, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Berlin, New Jersey. Just getting out of a roll in there, and oh man, always enjoy it. Always getting in there. Always love getting in there, and that's it, man. There was a gentleman in there. It was his third day. Steve, who goes by Moon. What's up? Welcome. And it was his third time there, and as we got done rolling, he's like, how long you been doing this? A year and a half, give or take. And he's like, you love it. He's like, you like it? I was like, absolutely. There's nothing better than waking up in the morning, and the first thing you do, the very first thing you do when you wake up is go give it all you got. Like everything, wake up and just go give it all you got. No stopping, scrambling eggs, and whatever. Wake up first thing. Sorry, let me grab water here. And go get it all you got. I mean, that's just. Is there a better way to start the day? And just be excited to do that. And there's nothing else for that, like first hour. As you're learning and getting better, and as you're partnering up, or you're competing against somebody else. And that was something that kind of struck a chord for me this morning while I was jotting down my notes from our being in back mount and how to escape it, right? So somebody's on your back and they're trying to choke you out. That's how I start my morning. Somebody's trying to choke me and I'm just trying to live, and I'm trying to get into a better position. But as I was writing it down, I was writing down the notes, and I talked about the opponent being on your back and trying to save yourself from the opponent. And I said, that's not really it, because if he's my opponent, like, you start thinking about being concerned or worried, or the connotation of opponent versus a partner, right? The connotation of opponent versus a partner. So if I'm in my opponent's control, oh shit, I gotta get out of that, I'm gonna die, right? And my opponent's gonna kill me. But if I'm in my partner's control, okay, let's slow this down a little bit. How can I get into a better position? How can I help make you better but get better at the same time? Right? Or, ask questions. And when you're partnered up with somebody, there's a whole different breathing pattern, a whole different way of feeling, a whole different sensation than if you're within the grasp of your opponent. If you're in the grasp of your opponent, it's do or die. You're gonna die. Or kill or be killed, right? But if you're with a partner, then you're in a better space. And what's interesting, or a different space, again, it's just how do you think about that? Because as I was writing it down, I was like, well, it really wasn't in my opponent's mount, and I was able to think more. Like when you're in fight or flight mentality, when you're in fight and flight mentality, you see very narrow. You see only like one way to escape. You see very little that can help you to live. Like if those are your thoughts. You're not thinking of fight or flight in terms of I gotta live. You're thinking in fight or flight as in I gotta not die, right? I mean, if you think about it, think about the words for a little bit. When you're living, ooh, that feels good. When you're dying, no. There's only one word you can think. And same thing happens when you're in your opponent's control or your partner's control. They're two totally different aspects. And, that kind of came across as I was writing that down. But it made me think of, seeing Tony Robbins this week. And he talked about the word compete. And competition and compete, to me, just like always seems like, you're always going for somebody else's thing. You're competing for somebody else's business in that, the competition is, there's only one, right? There's only one thing out there, and there's only one viable way. There's only one option. But he put another perspective on it, and I jotted it down real quick. Let's see if I, make this turn. The idea is, compete means to come together and to seek. As taken apart in Latin. So com means together, and pater means to seek. So, the original Latin really means to kind of come together or contend for something, but the other option is like you're pushing each other to do your best. And that's, if you can look at the competition as you're just pushing you and somebody else and yourself to be the best at what they're at. I mean, even with a good partner, you don't want a partner that in jiu-jitsu or anywhere in life that just says, nah, okay, and is like not putting forth their best effort, right? Because if they're not putting forth their best effort, you're not encouraged to put forth your best effort, and you are no longer kind of striving. You're no longer kind of pushing each other and in a good way to be the best that you can be. And we talk about it in jiu-jitsu all the time. If you've got a partner who's just not trying, then it can be it can be frustrating for you, because you want to see how you've improved. You want to get better. If you've got an opponent, somebody says, "Oh, that wasn't a challenge," or that opponent sucked, then what fun is that? It's not fun. There's no joy if you're not pushing yourself to be better. There's no joy if you're not pushing yourself to improve, and there's no joy if you're not doing that with somebody else. Look, so where doesn't this apply? So I think the challenge is to not necessarily look at somebody in competition as there's only one of something available. If the word competition comes up, it only means that you are being asked to give your best and to work with your best. The only challenge, if you're with a partner, you can only be asked to give your best and give your best. Otherwise, you're not part of a team. All right, you're Miss Daisy or Morgan Freeman, whatever his name was in the movie. I'm sure that's a terrible setup, but whatever. That was kind of the realization I had as I was jotting down my notes this morning. Your opponent is really more your partner, and when you're competing, you're really just asking the other person to give their best so that you can give your best. That's it.